Hello and welcome to my top 15 Pokemon starters. We'll be covering my personal 15 best starter Pokemon from the 7 generations out so far. I'm not including the Gen 8 starters yet, as we don't know enough about them, and we don't have the complete lines, and if they do have the complete lines by the time this video goes up, then I haven't played games yet, so that's why. But I do already have a favorite. What? So remember, this is my own personal opinion, and if you disagree, that's completely okay. We're both right and can agree to disagree. Except that I'm more right than everyone else, of course. In all seriousness, I would love to hear about your order in the comments, or even your own video. No one's stopping you. Anyway, I'm going to cover not only the first stage, but the whole line. So I will talk briefly about all 3. Also, Pikachu doesn't count. And everyone in Mystery Dungeon that wasn't already a starter in any other games. So EV2, etc. So on. Yeah! So get over it. Now, let's go. Number 15, Charmander. Yeah, I didn't expect him to be here, did ya? From the very beginning of Pokemon, I always saw Charmander as the basic choice. Kind of like how everyone loved Pikachu. He's a dragon. Cool. But it's not that interesting to me. Neither of them were as cool as people made them out to be, and in many ways the Charmander line is just outright unlikable. Charmander is alright, I won't deny that Charizard is pretty cool and Charmeleon exists, but it's pretty undeniable that all 3 are dicks at times, and Charizard is an asshole to a default. I wouldn't want to trade Charizard after seeing all that Ash went through and knowing some of the stuff about him from the show. He's not even a real dragon! Overrated, I say! And I don't care what the Charizard fanboys say, there's a much better and bluer option in Gen 1. 14. Chimchar line. Won't lie, Fire is probably my least favorite of the 3 starter types. Most of them just end up being my second favorite or third favorite in most generations. Chimchar's line fits that, being the third favorite of a fairly strong group. Chimchar is cute, although not as cute as the other 2. Monferno is interesting enough, although not as interesting enough as the other 2. And Infernape is badass, although not as badass as the other 2. Infernape is also one of, if not the best of the starters competitively. I just wasn't interested in him or the monkeys that preceded him. Just seemed like Blaziken Part 2, if anything. Which, didn't make anything better when Emboar came out, because it was basically Blaziken Part 3. Overall, the group is cool and I like it, I just think there's a lot of other fun, cool starter lines too. Like this one. 13. Piplup line. Chimchar is cute, but Piplup is absolutely adorable. And yes, that counts for points with me. Penguins in general are awesome, so it was nice to see the Pokemon version, and it did not disappoint. In particular, I love Empoleon to death, because it's so badass, and the Water Steel typing is one of my favorites because it allowed Empoleon to have some moves and type advantages that no other water starter had before that. Major thing bringing this group down is Piplup. I don't hate it, but he is really boring. He just seems like a normal penguin. That's it. Not really anything special about him. He's just happy feet of Pokemon. Even his name is way too similar to Piplup, just tossing in another couple of letters and calling it a day. And that seems to be a theme for most of the middle stages, just somewhat boring transition periods. In most cases, that's what's bringing them down. 12. Toted Outline. Not here, though. After Gen 1 gave us the imaginative water Pokemon Turtle, Gen 2 gave us an even more inspired idea, an alligator/crocodile. Won't lie, there's a bit of a dislike for them as Crocodile is just plain weird, wearing a bandana or something over its body for clothes. Do Pokemon need those? Also, for Alligator, just seems like they ran out of space for the name, like Game Freak was trying to name a character after a swear word, but they didn't have enough letters to fit. But besides that, the line is pretty cool, as Totodile is both intimidating for a small fry as well as really cute, which is a tough combination to pull off. Crocodile and for Alligator are both very intimidating and make for an interesting trio of water types, if nothing else. 11. Torchic line. Yet again, we see the fire type as the weakest choice, in my opinion, of its generation. This time, however, it's rounding out what I think is the best overall group, including Gen 1. Torchic is pretty cute, but has the huge disadvantage of being based on a chicken, which are notoriously stupid. Despite what the anime will try to make you believe, I expect Torchic and its evolutions to follow suit. A bunch of stupid chickens. However, the later lines make up for that. Combustion is really cool, and no other way to describe it, and Blaziken is a very powerful firefighting Pokemon, which was really cool at the time. Doesn't mean 3 generations and a 4th that looks like it should be of it are welcome. I, for one, am done with firefighting starters. Number 10, Lydon line. First up, just want to say a name that combines lit with kitten was probably the best way for Game Freak to ever appeal to the kids. And honestly, it worked. Anyway, Lydon got me super hopeful when he first revealed. We've seen Cats before, we've seen Fire Dark before, we've seen Edgy before, but Lydon seemed like an awesome blend of all 3. He's just so cool. Then we get Torchic, even edgier and possibly more wild than powerful. It was the perfect evolution for Lydon. Then I waited with bated, hopeful breath for what could be the edgiest, coolest Pokemon this series had ever done. Edgier than Absol, edgier than Grovyle, edgier than Zoroark, even edgier than Darkrai. A tall task, I know, but still I dreamed. I had hope. I was such a fool, for I thought the holy final form of Lydon could match the edge of characters from Sonic. Then Incineroar was revealed. Even the name sounded edgy as fuck, but the Pokemon we got, it was a mess. It looked more like an emo version of Tony the Tiger. It looked like the lead singer of some 90s, early 2000s punk pop band trying to prove he still has it. Incineroar, simply put, is an abomination. I get what they were going for, a dirty heel rustler. The idea of that, I love, but it just didn't work. There are 2 huge problems with that. One, that is not what they were building up to. For me and anyone else who thought Incineroar would be a super cool edgelord extraordinaire Pokemon, we had the rug pulled out from under us. We were tricked, betrayed. And regardless of how swollen and intimidating he is, he would only ever be a reminder of that pain. The second reason is that the swollen intimidating isn't what a heel wrestler is supposed to be. What they should have gone for instead, this solves both problems honestly, making Incineroar a more crafty, cheating type that makes a good foil for the heroic strongman types like Hulk Hogan and John Cena. But overall, this line is just a huge promise that failed to deliver. Spent way too much time talking about this line. Let's move on. 9. Bulbasaur. Ah, good old Bulbasaur. The OG Viney Boy, king of the Pokedex. If you don't happen to take a step to the right, he's the first Pokemon you see. Honestly, Bulbasaur is kind of the standard for Pokemon starters for me. Not standard as in the best, but more the line I draw between passable and good. No single part of this line, from Bulbasaur to Ivysaur to Venusaur, is at all a weakness. Every single one of them is fun, enjoyable, more powerful than they look. Including Venusaur, which already looks pretty damn powerful. You really can't go wrong with this choice. 8. Fennekin. I won't lie, Fennekin is freaking cute. Definitely top 3 or 4 of all starters, having to dog it out with Mudkip, Piplup, Cyndaquil, and Rowlett. It's hard to pick with a winner in this group, honestly. But anyway, Fennekin ends up being my second favorite fire type because of its cuteness and deceptive effectiveness. Braixen is a good evolution, especially since it somehow learns to walk on 2 legs, granting it a real evolutionary power. The real party starts with Braixen evolves into the legendary 9-tailed fox spirit, Kurama! With its incredible levels of chakra, Kurama is able to lay waste to entire villages at its leisure, and has been gone for many years, trapped inside Naruto. Wait, wrong story. The 3rd evolution is actually Delphox, a dancing fire psychic type that has a great offense of flame and mind-bending powers. This is one of my all-time favorite typings. It just seems really cool to me. 7. Froakie. When I originally made this list, Froakie was much higher, but then as I was trying to come up with something to say about him, I just couldn't come up with much. Froakie's pretty cute, pretty cool, and overall pretty great. Same with Frogadier. Greninja, as a freaking ninja frog, is awesome, but it almost seems too much of an edgelord starter of choice for me to be wholeheartedly vouch for him to be higher on the list. Having him higher just didn't feel right, even though I do genuinely love this line. And by the way, the water dark typing is so freaking cool! 6. Treecko. Speaking of cool, all 3 members of this line are cool as hell! Treecko puts even Lydon to shame as far as how cool a starter it is. Then gets put to shame by its evolution, Grovyle. Grovyle might just be one of the coolest Pokemon in general. and it isn't even edgy like most of the others. It is, but not in the edgy kind of way. Sceptile was okay, and certainly a very formidable Pokemon to have or face, but its design just always looked a little weird to me. It ended up a lot more awkward than its first 2 stages, but still overall pretty decent. 5. Turtwig. It's a freaking adorable little grass turtle! This thing is freaking great! I mean, I guess I can understand why some people would be put off by its derpiness, but I personally find it endearing. Add onto that, Bodil takes that derpiness and runs a mile with it. I freaking love it. It just reminds me so much of Spike from Land Before Time. And then finally, Torterra. This thing is a freaking powerhouse! How can you not love this behemoth of a turtle? 4. Cyndaquil. I see a lot of shit thrown Cyndaquil's way, and I never really understood why. It's a flaming echidna! It rolls around as a little fireball, burning everything in its path. It frankly blew both other starters out of the water. In all honesty, I must confess that 5-year-old me picked Totodile first, because crocodiles are cool. And I still do like Totodile, as you saw earlier on the list. I just prefer Cyndaquil at this point. Anyway, Quilava and Typhlosion honestly don't have much more to add, because they're basically just bigger versions of Cyndaquil. But it is worth noting that Typhlosion is based on volcanoes, which is badass. 3. Tepig. Just kidding! No one likes Tepig. The rest of the Gen 5 starters suck too. 3. Rowlett. This little goober is the real number 3. Just look at him! At his adorable little face! At his tiny little bow tie! His perfect circle of a body! Rowlett is the cutest starter, period, although my number 1 starter does give him competition. I honestly don't even want to cover Dartrix or Decidueye. This little bowling ball is all I care about. Well, I suppose I have to. I mean, I really like Rowlett's evolutions too, so it's not like this line is here only for Rowlett. Dartrix is awesome because it's like our adorable little Al grew up a bit, is in middle school, and is going through his emo phase. It's amazing. And not the edgelord kind like Grovyle, Zoroark, or Absol. This feels more like a legit, it's not a phase, Mom, evolution. It's just so wholesome. And then Decidueye is a legit badass. He's a freaking archer and a ghost type. What more could you want? 2. Squirtle. It came down to 2 incredible water type starters, and number 2 falls to the OG fave for everyone with class. Gang of our childhood, the original Bubble Boy, motherfucking Squirtle, yo. He then grows sideburns, then becomes a tank, complete with cannons. There is no arguing with how awesome this line is. Nothing more needs to be said. Number 1. Mudkip. At last, the number 1 starter. I don't know what it is about Mudkip, but he just inspires love within me. I want this thing in my life. I want several. I want all the Mudkips. Make them real, Elon Musk. I beg you. They're just so cheerful, it's infectious. I just want one. Marshtomp is cool. He's a grown-up Mudkip that still has cheerfulness, but isn't as cute anymore. Then he becomes Swampert, which might just be my favorite of all the final stage starters. Swampert is just so cool. I love him. If I had to team in real life, Swampert is definitely the one leading it. This line is my favorite, although Squirtle and company are fairly close at number 2. So that's it for my list. I highly doubt you agree with me, so feel free to attack me in the comments and tell me how I messed up. If you liked the video at all, please like and subscribe to help my channel grow. I plan on making more videos like this soon, but knowing how lazy I am, I can't make a promise on when. Anyway, thank you for watching.